So have a look at this. Welcome to 14 frame launchers into 12 hit 70 damage combos with insane wall carry that end in like really nice diagonal high hits for wall conversions on a character that already has some of the best wall damage in the game. I haven't even started experimenting with the things you could potentially do with this, because now Lars has two rage drives that both add like length and damage to combos. I mean, theoretically you could do something like I don't know. Oh my god. I'm so glad Namco decided to nerf combos this season. This is kind of weird to me because Lars has always been very good at combos. That's why everybody loved him in Tag 2. You could play him with any partner because he could create amazing combos, and his combos have been very good in Tekken 7. That's not the problem. So he's been a kind of a weak character, but they keep buffing him in an area where he's already a specialist. I guess at some point it's going to hit some sort of critical mass where the combos are just so good that Lars becomes a good character, because all he has to do is hit you one time and then it's over. Is he going to be good this season though? Let's go through the changes and see what we think. The first change is actually the new Rage Drive, and this is dynamic 3+4, and it's a good Rage Drive for sure. This is an unseeable low into a massive chunk of damage, so that's super dangerous on its own. Gives amazing mix-up potential to dynamic when you have rage, but it also has that really cool benefit of when you hit a spun opponent at the end of a combo, you can get massive, I mean that short combo and it's 76. We have a couple of rage drives like that in the game already, so it's just more really intense combo damage for Lars. I don't think it's a good idea to buff characters by giving them new rage drives, because when you use your rage drive, you're already kind of losing the round, you know, because you're in rage. I think it's better to give them stuff that they can always do, you know, at any point in the round. But this is definitely not a bad change. It's a very powerful rage drive. So, I mean, Lars players are definitely happy about that one. He's going to need other stuff, is what I'm trying to say as well, you know. Next, 111 has a damage change. It's gone from 7, 10, 15 on the respective hits to 7, 8 at 20. So a small damage nerf of 2 points on the second hit, but a massive damage buff on the final hit. So you're really trying to catch them with that counter hit now, and it's going to do a lot of damage. So this string has a lot more stopping power in this season. Next, 3 down, kind of awkward. I don't know if a lot of people use this move because it's like a 15 frame high, and then you can spin and get into full crouch where I guess you want to be because of the tie your shoelaces move, theoretically. But this has gotten some changes. It went from -12 to -10 on block, from +5 to +7 on hit. So, I mean, I guess that's pretty cool because you can full crouch mix up, which is potentially decent with the character because he has mids and stuff. But the initial hit, the actual 15 frame high that you have to do here, I think is just not that interesting. If you have enough space to, you know, hit with 15 frame moves, then there are all kinds of more powerful moves you can do with this character. Next, dynamic entry 3. So that's this move. This is the plus on block move that they gave him when they wanted to initially buff this stance, to give him the ability to create mix-ups. So they've given him more plus frames. It used to be +4. They've given him +6 now, which is significant. I think at +6 you're a lot more dangerous than a +4. It really limits the opponent's ability to move out of the mix-up especially. The other thing is that it has less pushback, and you can really tell, which means that you can now mix for sure when you make the opponent block this. I still think it's a little bit slow to impact, but it is definitely going to be good. And this is the thing they've tried to do for the character all along. Give him seriously powerful stance mix-ups from like dynamic and silent. Yeah, I think this is a great change. When this gets blocked now, he can definitely mix here. So it's a cool change. Next, during silent entry, down forward 1. This is another big change. I mean, I should just mention probably quickly, in case you're not familiar with the character, this, where he slides in, is dynamic entry. I I used to refer to these stances as the slide in the DMs and the please respond, because nobody gives a shit about Lars' stances and he just gets ignored when he tries to mix from them. But that's dynamic, and then when he crouches down like that, that's silent. And I think both stances are dangerous in this season, so you have to start caring about them now. But Silent has this move, which is down forward 1. And if we make Kazuya eat it here, you can tell that it's a counter hit launch now. This was already like a good mid from this stance. So that's an amazing change. It makes them more nervous about swinging into your stances. And it's a powerful launch as well. So that's a great change. I felt for a long time like that should have been a counter hit launcher. But I felt like, you know, maybe it's just a little bit too powerful. But they went ahead and did it, which is big for this character. Next, Silent 2, which is the mix-up low you have from this stance. Also got a change. It went from minus 13 to minus 12 on block. It's not a huge change, but it can be big, because in some matchups that's going to be the difference between getting launched and not getting launched, which is obviously very big. So it's a great change for the mix-up low here. And then on hit from plus 5 to plus 6. He gets a lot of plus 6 this season. It's like they try to normalize all of his advantage to plus 6. So if you become comfortable at, you know, mixing with plus 6, you can do like whatever you want for mixing with this character without memorizing a lot of frame data. And that kind of makes sense to me, because he's supposed to be, you know, the easy to understand characters for new players. At least he used to be when he came into the game in Tekken 6. But he has a lot of plus 6 for mixing now. And this is the low that you want to use. It also has the counter hit properties. So yeah, these stances are getting pretty lethal in this season. Next, we're going to talk about his new move, and that is the silent entry 3+4, and you already saw it when I did those crazy combos. It's a spin move, it's a wall conversion tool, which is great, but I also think it has utility as a mix-up mid from silent entry, because if you look, if we make Kazuya block it here, you can tell that it's mid and minus 6, so it's completely safe and it's mid. I haven't experimented with the linearity yet, but if the opponent isn't, you know, being super agile and somehow slinking out to the side, if they can't even do that, this is a fantastic mix-up mid for this stance, because like I said, it's safe, and you're mixing it with this low, you know, the 2. That's a strong mix-up. That's really powerful. Low risk, potential high reward with that 28 damage, and a nice plus 11 right there. So this move is great for combos, but I think don't underestimate its potential as a mix-up mid as well, along with the down forward 1, obviously, because it has that powerful counter hit property where it launches, whereas this thing does not. But yeah, seriously powerful moves. Next, we're going to look at some entry points for these stances. So you've got the forward 1, 2, 3, which is that string, and you can hold back to cancel the forced dynamic entry transition. That's something that they gave him at some point during Tekken 7. He didn't used to be forced to transition and then cancel. So that's something to get used to if you haven't played the character in a while. But the change is more range on the first hit, which is great, because if you want to enter the stance or combo using this, you have more range now on the forward 1 right there. And then third hit, change the opponent's behavior when it lands as counter hits. So, as you might have guessed, you've got another powerful counter hit launcher in your arsenal here that is going to make the opponent nervous about swinging into you when you're zooming around and doing all these crazy anime moves. And the other transition here is the forward 2-1, which is this one. This is the first one that I talked about right there, is 13 frames to impact for the transition, and you go into the stance with +6, so it's that same +6 again. This other one, the forward 2-1, is the same +6 when you go into silent, but it impacts at 12. So they've given this more damage. It's gone from 12 to 15, and I think that's to incentivize you to use this more for a punisher and then capitalize on the stance mix-up, because when you have 12 frames with Lars, you've got 4-2-4, which is a great block punisher here, you know, range, damage, knockdown, 32. It's really good for 12. But now when that your stances are so much better, maybe you do this and you go in here with +6 and you mix from silent instead. You only get 25 damage for the initial punish, but that's still decent, and the mix-up is so powerful that that's probably worth it. So I think this damage buff right here is to incentivize you to use this more for short range whiff punishment and block punishment, so that you spend more time mixing from silent entry. Again, they're trying to emphasize these stances. It's fascinating because I'm starting to feel, the more I think about it like this, is it might be what this character has been waiting for, you know? Next, down forward 2-1, which is this launch and spin move that he's had since Tekken 7, has gone from being a duckable high on the second hit. The first hit has always been mid. Still is. It's gone from -7 to -14. So instead of being a duckable high, it's now a punishable mid. So it's incentivizing you to use this more as a standard block and whiff punishing launcher, which doesn't really make sense to me, because you have this for 14, you have this for 15, you have this for 16, and now you have this for 16 as well. And an orbital, which is of course slower, but you've got all of these like 14, 15, 16 mid launchers that you can do, and I don't feel like they're distinct enough. I mean, I guess this for the crush properties, this for the speed, and just don't use Arc Blast, because it's supposed to be his signature move and a really good launcher, but it's just kind of awkward, and I think you have better stuff. I think good Lars players really are going to worry about becoming really nice and clean with that move, because it's the fast one. And as we saw at the beginning, it also gives like fantastic combos despite the impact speed being faster. But yeah, so this is not duckable anymore, and for the first couple of weeks of Season 4, that means that people will attempt to duck this second hit and get hit by it. Already happened to me twice yesterday, but then they're going to get used to it, and then they're going to start block punishing it. So, I mean, this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because I think this was more, it was more of a spin move than it was a Punisher. But I guess maybe the thing is, now that you have this for a spin move, they needed to give this move a little bit more of a niche or something to do. But it's not like you lack launchers with the character. Next, we've got down back 1-3, which is another one of these, you know, spinny ones. This is one of like the main lows he uses. He typically doesn't have great lows. This is something you do have. 19 damage, -1 on hit. If you spin down, you get +1. And then I guess you can mix down here. I don't love this low. I think it's always been kind of awkward. Not a huge fan. But the change is, when blocked, it's gone from -12 to -10. And on hit, it's gone from -1 to +1. So I guess that nice little bit of advantage when you do hit with your low poke is cool. But you have to do the spinnies to get down here. Down back 4, another staple of Lars's. Move that he uses a lot, especially online. Buffed by 2 damage points and decrease the distance between the character between the characters when the move hits. So damage buff to this is great because it is a powerful counter hit launcher that Lars does use. It is dangerous because it's very launch punishable. I don't know what he does for the combo this season. Oh, I guess that works. You can just improvise and get like crazy damage and carry with this character now. That might be good actually. 69. There you go. All right. These combos, man. Back 4, which is your substitute. You don't have a fast counter hit mid really with the character. You've always had this instead. So to make up for the fact that it's not really a launcher, they've given it more damage. It's going to do a total of 25 now, which is the cutoff point. 55 and up is where I call something full combo damage. So it's going to do that now for you. And you're going to use this similarly to how you use like a typical 15 frame counter hit mid launcher, like down for from Katarina, for example. Difference being with Lars, you can't do crazy wall carry and stuff. You just put them on the ground. But, you know, when you hit with everything else, your wall carry is insane right now, so maybe that's fine. 441 plus 2, which is another great counter hit launcher with this character. It's gone from being -11 to -9, so it's safe now, which means that from like mid range you can just hit them with this from complete safety. And whenever you get a counter hit, you're going to be comboing. Again, this is one of those where I don't really know how you combo. Again, I guess that works. You can probably get more because this character is a combo artist at this point. A complete acrobat when it comes to combos. It's really, really cool. I mean, I mentioned a couple of these earlier videos, but when a move goes from punishable to safe, that's a big deal because it basically means you can now do it so much more often, and that changes, you know, your standard repertoire for the character. This move was already kind of good. Now it's really good. And you can launch them, and then you can party hard with your insane combo potential. Next, your slash kick, which is another move you use with Lars because it's one of the few ways he has access to plus frames. Increase the lower range of the attack, so it's going to be more difficult to go under this now. Also, a bug fix. Fixed an issue in which the opponent could shorten the recovery time via crouch input. I wasn't even aware that that existed, so there's a bug fix for the move as well. And then the final change, while standing 2-1, which is this staple Punisher from While Standing for Lars, 13 frames to impact. Change the behavior when the move hits on counter hit. You guessed it, it's another insane counter hit launcher for this character. So, I mean, yeah. The reason that matters is, you know, just block the 2 hits, right? Why would you get counter hit? Well, he can, you know, use that first hit to actually go into silent, which means that the opponent can't swing after the first hit because they might get countered by the second hit because that countered property exists now, and then they get launched, which means that they have to stand and wait, and that allows you to go into silent, and then you can apply your really strong silent mix-up. So that's another really good change. When I first looked over these changes, I was like, well, it's just more combo damage for Lars, you know, what else is new? It's not going to change him in a big way, but having messed around with it a bit in practice mode, I think we've hit that critical mass, and they've also improved the stances. I mean, silent is great now, and if you have rage, dynamic is a nightmare. That's counter hit, sorry, because of this thing. So, has Lars finally reached the point where he's going to be a serious contender now? I think this might be it. And the buff to this move as well, plus frames. I think this might be it. I think it's definitely the strongest he's ever been in the history of Tekken 7, but I think, you know, we looked at Gigas and Miguel, characters that have been weak for a long time, and then they got some more stuff, some more Punisher, some more counter hits. I don't think it's going to be huge for them, even though it matters, but this is like a different level of buffs. This is the kind of like higher level of buffs that I would have liked to see for all of these weak characters, Katarina and Leo included. So if you love Lars, rejoice, because this is going to be party time. I think more people will play this character. I'm just a little bit worried about how, you know, I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer now and negative, because you know I like this character and you know I'm happy that he's better, but there's this thing where combo damage was getting silly and combo carry was getting silly, and it's weird that Lars just got even better in that department, like even with the health increase. This is insane. But maybe that's mitigated by the fact that, you know, some characters are supposed to be specialists and have things that they're good at. Maybe this character is meant to be the guy who's just extremely good at combos. But now he has strong stance mix-ups as well, so knock yourself out. Oh, and fantastic block punishment. Apart from the 10 frame, which is, you know, decent, everything else is insane for his block punishment as well. So, yeah, he's kind of good at a lot of stuff right now. What a crazy set of buffs. What a fun time to be a Lars player. Hope you enjoyed the video. This might be the last one I do, actually, of just this series. I'm going to do a bunch of videos on Season 4. I wanted to do Elisa as well, you know, Elisa with an S, the robot, but she only got like a small chunk of changes. Basically what happened is her chainsaws, which were already very, very good, got even better. So she's also super strong. She also has the insane movement, right? I might do a short one on her, but for now this might be it, and then I'm gonna, you know, play some Season 4, you know, look at Kunimitsu, do some other stuff. But thank you so much for sticking with the series. I'll see you guys in the next video.